Okay, we're ready to go. So good morning to everybody in here, and good morning to everybody out there. It's the first time there have been people in the studio with me for a long time, so I'm so happy. I won't name any names, but we're glad to be here. So let's all sit comfortably. If you're on the floor, you know you can stretch your legs out. You can sit cross-legged, grab a blanket if you need. And if you're in your chair, just get your feet hips distance apart and parallel. So those of you at home, just make sure you have yourself settled in and have your things around you. There will be a part in class later where I ask that you have maybe some support, either a wall or maybe your kitchen cabinet or something if you're at home. So I'll warn you about that, but just so you know, at one point we might need a little bit of a support for a foot or a hand. So sit comfortably. Let's all close our eyes and let yourself find a comfortable place for your hands to rest. So maybe you want to turn your palms up, maybe you want to turn your palms down. Let yourself just enjoy feeling that sense of lengthening up through the crown of your head. And accept your breaths in and out through your nose. If you can, let your breaths even out so the length of your inhales and exhales become fairly even. Start to move so that as you exhale, you come a little bit forward with your torso, and on the inhale, you rise back up. That doesn't mean you need to move far. Keeping your spine nice and lengthened, let your exhales bring you a little bit forward, and your inhales bring you back upright. So just starting to let the breath move the body here. Time that you come back upright, let yourself stay there and release your arms on out beside you. So if you're on the floor, you can lightly touch the ground there. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And let's reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. Inhaling here. And on the exhale, we're going to twist to our right. So bring yourself on around to the right, letting your left hand come onto your right knee. And inhaling here. And on the exhale, we're going to reverse and go the other direction. And letting yourself come on around. Real easy. Lengthen up through the top of your head. Inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come on back around into center again. And let's inhale the hands all the way out straight from our shoulders and flex our hands here. So bend your elbows a little bit. Let yourself kind of enjoy a little bit there. And then press out into the heels of the hands, letting yourself open up the undersides of the arms. And then release, let your arms come down, shake out a little bit. If you're cross-legged on the floor, switch the cross of your legs so you bring your other leg in front. Stretch them out first if you need to. And then we'll bring our arms on down again beside us, and we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And this time, go ahead and interlace your fingers and really squeeze your hands together. Squeeze your palms, feel your biceps engage a little bit there. Let yourself feel the fingers. And then start to press forward with the heels of your hands, letting yourself release right out from the chest for a second here. Really stretching out the fingers a little bit. You can always bend the elbows and kind of get your fingers really going there. Start to float the arms up. Now you may stop pretty soon. You may not want to go much above your face, right? You may want to keep going. That is totally up to you. Your shoulders will kind of predict how far you can go there. Take your time. And then think about pressing up into the heel of your right hand and come over into just a tiny little side stretch. But really think more about pressing up into the heel of the hand. And then come on back through center and go to the other side. So pressing into the heel of the hand and really finding space between the ribs there. Good. And then come on back into center. Lower your hands down behind your head for a second. And kind of go, actually, if you can, ponytails make it hard, but bring your hands more to the base of your, really right at your neck a little bit. So you're right at the base of your skull, and then just look up a tiny little bit. Feel your belly engaging when you do that. Just a tiny little bit, but you're supporting your head. One more breath here. And then we'll come on up. We're going to lower our arms on down and let our head come forward, chin down towards your chest. So let your head release there and turn the chin a little bit side to side so that you let your neck go here. Really stay on one side as long as you need to, too. Just be mindful of releasing here. Come back into center and now roll your left ear towards your left shoulder, coming into the side of the neck stretch there. And then come back through center and we'll go to the other side. So just letting yourself release over to the other side. And then we'll come on back into center again, chin towards the chest. And inhale, rising the head up, releasing your hands out beside you. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And then go ahead and unfold your arms. And we're going to stretch our legs long. So if you're in your chair, if you want to scoot back a little bit, do. If you want to hold on to your chair, do. But let your legs come long and let your feet flex here. Feel your heels. If you're on the floor, let your heels really feel that like they're coming down to the mat. And then point both your feet and really feel like you're reaching out through the toes here now, stretching out the tops of the feet. And then flex through your feet again. And then let yourself point through your feet again. And then one more time, flexing through both feet. And then letting yourself point through the feet here. And let's release our arms on down beside us. Bring your arms on out. Shake them out just a little bit again. Shake out your hands. And then bring your hands behind you. So, again, if you're in your chair, you can lay back on the back of your chair here. If you're on the floor, you can put your fingertips or go flat onto your hands. Let yourself really enjoy opening through the chest here. But be easy for your neck. Right? You can look forward. You can look up a little bit. You can look up all the way at the ceiling if that feels okay. But just be mindful. Let yourself enjoy opening up through the front body. And then we'll come on forward. And let's come into a little seated forward bend. So that might mean just a tiny little bit leaning forward. Those of you in your chair, if you want to separate your feet and put your elbows above your knees, you know you can do that. You can go farther. You know, if your back allows you to bring yourself farther forward, do. So you know if you're on the floor with your legs long, you can go with hands down the legs a little bit. You can bend your knees if you need to. Let it feel good. Let it feel like a release. Nice. One more breath. And we're going to slowly come on back up from here. Take your time. Let yourself rise on up. And we're going to come around towards either our hands and knees, or you know if you don't want to be on your hands and knees, you can use your chair seat. So just turn the seat of the chair around to face you. And if you are on the floor and you need a blanket, grab that blanket, okay? Let yourself get comfortable. And be mindful here. I'm just coming over here to make sure that we have sound okay here. Everything's all right with sound and lighting. Okay. So get your feet or your knees right under your hips, your hands under your shoulders, whether you need to do fists with your hands or flat hands. And then as you exhale, draw up into your cat pose, letting yourself feel your tailbone dropping down. And on your inhale, send your tailbone backing up, moving back through into your cow pose. And again, exhaling, drawing that tailbone up under you, rounding up into your back. And on the inhale, sending your tailbone backing up. Now keep moving with the speed of your own breath here. So it doesn't need to be the same speed as anybody else is breathing. Really let your breath move your body here. Good, we'll finish the one we're on. And let's come to more neutral spine. Coming on back into really easily here, letting your spine get aligned. And we're going to step our left foot forward and our right foot back and come into a lunge here. You can use your blocks under your hands. You can use the floor. You can use your chair. So whatever height you want to be, but look back at your right foot for a second. Make sure that heel is reaching directly behind your foot. Good. And just draw your shoulders down away from your ears and feel that zip up of the belly. Press the feet gently away from each other. Feel like your whole body's getting longer. And then we'll switch legs. Coming to the other side. Take your time. Pressing into the mat here with both feet pressing away from each other and zip up the belly. And again, feel that length down the back body, really opening up through the back of the leg. Good. We're going to switch again. So again, once you're here, pressing those feet away from each other, draw your shoulders down. And now see about straightening that front left knee out a little bit. Let the right heel just descend a little more towards the mat. Get into the back. So both legs a little bit deeper. So the back heel might not be on the floor. That's fine. Just let yourself feel your calf. Feel the backs of both legs. Feel your thighs lifting upward a little bit. And then we'll bend that front knee again and come back to lunge. And we'll switch legs again. So again, once you find your lunge now, really press the feet gently away from each other. Feel that engagement of the belly. And we're going to straighten into that front knee. And again, let that back heel go directly back behind your foot still. So it's not really a pyramid. You're letting yourself find the backs of the legs there. Thighs gently lifting upward. Feeling your calf of that back leg. Feeling the backs of both legs. Good, and then we'll bend the front knee again, find our lunge. And we're going to step forward from here and come on into our standing forward again. So pretty easy. You know, use support. If you need to put your elbows above your knees to support your back, do it. You can bend your knees and let yourself find a flatter back that way. Or you, of course, can bring your hands to your blocks or forearms to your chair. Be really easy. Really mindful. Let your head feel heavy if you can. Maybe move your head around a little bit just to let yourself enjoy that weight, that kind of tractioning of your spine. One more nice full breath. And then we'll bend our knees. We're going to press into our feet and rise on up to standing. And we'll inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So look down at your feet and just make sure you're not turning your toes out or turning your toes, you know, one foot out and one foot in, just so you get really even with your toes facing forward here, paralleling your feet out. And then go ahead and bring your hands to meet right in front of your chest, in front of just where they want to come to, really. So imagine, actually draw your hands a little away from your chest. And then on your next exhale, let the thumbs just come in towards the breastbone, almost like they kind of want to plug into a certain spot, and your shoulders feel nice and released. Bringing your gaze on forward and out in your mountain pose. Press your feet gently down into the floor, almost like you're trying to push the floor away from you. Feel the tailbone dropping down. And feel your hips coming over your ankles and shoulders over your hips. Finding that quiet strength of simply standing in your mountain pose. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us. And inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, we'll come on forward into standing forward bend. Bend your knees as you come. And on the next inhale, we're going to come into a nice flat back. So your hands can be wherever you like, on your legs, your blocks, your chair. You can bend your knees, but think of a flat back. And we'll step the right foot back now and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. So it is your choice whether your hands are on blocks or up on your chair or on the floor. Spread the fingers. See if you can feel your elbows softly hugging towards each other. Walk if you want to. Bend a knee at a time if that helps you, right? Or both knees at the same time. And on the next inhale, we'll come out towards a plank. You don't have to go all the way. You go as far as you can towards your plank there. If you need to and you're on the floor, you can put your knees down or you can come to your forearms if you need. And then we'll come on back into down dog. Really take your time there, reaching back through your sit bones. And let's bring our right foot forward to find lunge. So you know you can put your left knee down if you need to get there. And then we'll come all the way back into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart, parallel. And, be mindful. If it feels good to you to hold your elbows, do it. If it feels really good to allow yourself to feel that full weight. Otherwise, use support. And then follow your breath all the way in and all the way out. Really accepting those breaths as fully and deeply as you can. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise up to standing. Inhaling the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bring your hands right down together in front of your heart. And let's inhale the hands right up through the midline. Once they get up there, interlace your fingers like we did when we were sitting. Squeeze your palms together. Bend your elbows a little bit there. And then turn the heels of the hands up again so that now you're feeling your feet equal in the floor. Now make sure you're not curling your tailbone forward. It's kind of tempting to tuck your tailbone forward here. Feel the tailbone dropping down like it's coming between your heels. And then pick a side, any side. Go over into a little side stretch. Let yourself press up into the heel of one of your hands and really feel the feet in the floor here. And then come on back up to the top and go to your other side. If your head needs to move when you do this, do it. If it feels good to turn your neck a little bit, to look more up or more down. And then we'll come on back up to the top. And from here, we're going to circle our arms down around behind us. And we're going to inhale the arms forward and up overhead. And on the exhale, we'll bend the knees and come forward into our standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you lengthen your spine, find that flat back. And this time, left foot steps back to come into lunge. Press the feet away from each other. Consciously draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Engage your belly. Nice. We're going to come into downward facing dog pose again. So yay for the dog. Be mindful again. Move if you need to. Walk. Feel the elbows hugging inward so you feel your shoulders engaging in a good way. And then we'll come on out towards plank. So once you come out to your plank, you're more than welcome to do a little push-up if you want to. You can bend your elbows, maybe even just a tiny bit in towards your ribs. Man, that's a lot of work. You can stay in your plank, find that core strength, and then we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. Time, bringing the left foot forward, we're going to come into our lunge. So, put your right knee down if you need. And then come on back into your standing forward bend. So releasing again. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. If you are able, now don't do this if it bothers your back, but if you're able to put your hands and clasp them up on your low back new, bend the knees if you need to. Remember, you want to feel your sitting bones right over your heels. So you're trying not to shift your weight back behind your heels, right? One more breath. And then we'll bend our knees, press into our feet. We're going to rise on up, and we'll inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And let's unfold our arms. Let's inhale our right arm all the way out and up overhead, and just bend your elbow for a second. Let the hand come wherever it can. Right? It can be behind your head. It can be way down lower. And then just extend that arm up again. Now we're just going to switch. So as one comes down, the other one comes up overhead. And then again, just bend that top arm and let the elbow go where it needs to go for your own shoulder. If it has to come forward or out more, do. Let it feel really good here. And then we'll extend up again with that arm, and let's bring the other arm up as well. Both arms wide V now. Turn your pinkies towards each other. Maybe look up to where the wall meets the ceiling. Let yourself feel that openness in the front of the body. And release down the back of your body. And on the next exhale, we're going to come forward into our standing forward bend again. Let your next inhale help you find that flat back. And we're going to walk into down dog from here. So you know it is up to you where you put your hands. Take your time. Be mindful here. And on the next inhale, we'll come out to plank. Now, whether you're at a back bend, it's totally up to you. You can come to the floor if you're on the floor. You can go onto your forearms. You can move through for a cobra or an up dog, but not necessary to do a back bend. And then we'll come on back into downward facing dog face again. And just be really mindful. We'll come on out again on the inhale to a plank. And then you can decide, stay there, do a push-up if you want, stay in your plank, move into a back bend if you choose. And then we'll come on back again into downward dog. And we'll step our left foot forward here to come into lunge. And all the way back now into standing forward bend. And just breathe. Following your breath all the way in and all the way out. Maybe let your head nod a little bit or shake your head no a little bit, just real easily. One more breath. And then we're going to bend our knees, press into our feet, and rise on up. We're going to inhale the arms all the way out and up over the head. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So finding your mountain pose. Feel your hands now, actually for a second, whether your eyes are open or closed. Imagine you're looking straight out at the horizon. And then separate your hands just a tiny little bit. Not much, just a tiny little bit. Almost like you just feel a little breath of air there between your hands. And then softly reconnect the thumbs and the fingers together there. Letting yourself come into that quietness of your mountain pose. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us and shake out a little bit. Move around, walk around if you need to. Move through your feet. If you're using your chair, you might want to turn it around. We're going to come into Warrior One first, so front-facing warrior. So let's step our left foot forward and our right foot back. As you come into your Warrior One, take your time. Get that back foot fully on the floor, turned out maybe 20 or 30 degrees. Shoulders draw around square to the front of the mat. Front knee bends no farther forward than your ankle. You should be able to see your toes. And then just let your gaze come on forward here for a second. And we're going to rise the arms up into that wide V we found before. Turn the pinkies towards each other. Let your gaze stay forward for a second. Now, if you can, and this depends on your shoulders, but if you can, let your arms circle back behind you. Both arms are coming back behind you as far as you can. And then as they rise up through the center again, up through the front again, you're going to feel your belly automatically rise. You may even want to look up a little bit. So letting yourself stay here, feeling that uplift through the front of the body, feeling the feet grounded equally in the floor. One more breath. And then we'll lower our arms on down, and we're going to straighten that left knee out and turn sideways on our mat. And you want your feet still parallel, wide. So from here, bring your arms straight out from your shoulders, a little bit higher. 5-pointed star. Let yourself reach out through your fingertips, feel your tailbone dropping down. So make sure you're not curling your tailbone forward, but reach the tailbone down towards the ground. And then from here, we're going to come on forward to a wide-legged forward bend. So if you need to grab blocks, grab block or blocks from underneath your hands. Take your time here now. Bend a knee at a time if that feels good. So you can let yourself just mindfully move from side to side. Walk side to side if that feels better. You can just bend a knee at a time and stay center with your hands, whatever feels good. And then come on back into center. And take your time here. If you need to stack your blocks up so that you can put your forearms, or your hands on blocks, do. Or of course, you can bring your hands more to between your feet or hold your own ankles if that feels fine. You just have to really pay attention to your own back. And just breathe. Imagine you're trying to make your mat just a little bit longer with your feet, gently pressing the feet away from each other. So you are engaged. And then follow your breaths, all the way in, all the way out. One more full, complete deep breath here. And then we're going to slowly make our way up to standing. So take your time. Let yourself be mindful as you come on up and bring your feet together however you need to. And walk around if you need. Move through your feet and your ankles if you need to. And we are going to come forward with the right foot for the other side for that warrior one. So stepping your right foot forward and getting yourself there, however wide of a stance you need where you feel comfortable, right? And same thing for the length of your stance. Back foot fully on the floor, shoulders around square. And then again, releasing your arms and rising them forward and up into that wide V. Draw your pinkies towards each other. Let yourself enjoy, feel the feet equal in the floor. And now try the circling behind with your arms one time, just bringing them back. And then once they come forward, feel what your belly automatically does. When your arms rise up, it lifts. It just wants to. So let yourself just enjoy. Whether you look up or forward, arms can be a little more forward, a little more open. It's totally up to your shoulders. One more breath. And then we'll release to bring the arms on down. We're going to turn sideways again on our mats. And again, get your feet at least wider than your hips, depending on you how much wider, right? And then from here, into that 5-pointed star again, reach the arms on out. Really reach out through your fingertips. Reach up through the top of your head, like you have a string attached to the top of your head. It comes through your spinal column, up through the top of the head, and you're tall and lengthened as much as you can be. And then let's bend our knees as we come on forward. Now this time, once you get your hands to block or to the floor, let's shift over to our right. So walk over towards your right foot. It doesn't matter how far. You might just want to shift your block a little bit. And then come back to center and we'll go to the left. So again, you may just want to shift your block a little bit. You may want to walk over towards your foot. And then bring yourself on back into center with your hands. And now, turn your toes out a little bit, right? So now you've got, you're turned out a bit with your feet. And you're going to bend your right knee and keep your left foot on the floor. And maybe you'll find just a little extra something there in your inner thigh. And then you can shift and go the other way. You can do that a couple of times. If it feels good to you to shift back and forth that way with your feet turned out, you can. Just being really mindful of how your knees feel, of course.
And then we'll come on back to center. Let's turn our feet more parallel again. And then again, if you like to stack blocks up to give yourself support rather than fully hanging there in your wide-legged forward bend, then do. And then try to let go of your face. So let your head hang and then let your face soften. Let go all around your eyes and your mouth. And then really let the breath come to expand the ribs in all directions when you inhale. So you really feel the rib cage expanding outward on your inhales. One more breath. And we are going to slowly make our way up. So take your time. Let yourself come on up to standing. Walk those feet together. Walk around if you need to, you know. So take your time and let yourself get easy through your feet, your ankles. And we're going to come into Warrior Two this time. So we'll step the right foot back and line our heels up. So remember that back foot is about parallel to the back edge of your mat. Your left foot is about parallel to the long edge. Bending into that left knee. Be mindful of getting that knee right there over the center of your foot. Good. And then just float your arms on up and out, straight out from your shoulders. Now reach out to your fingertips. See if you can turn to look out over the top of that left hand. You're more than welcome to use your chair for balance if you need it. Feel the feet pressing gently away from each other. We're going to turn the left palm up towards the ceiling and inhale as we reach up towards the sky. Full breath into that side body. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle. So you can either have your hand on your thigh, on your chair, or your forearm to your thigh or your chair. All right? Adding that right arm up only if you choose to. So if it feels better to you to keep your right hand down on your hip, do. If your shoulder allows you to swing the arm up into line with the right side of the body, you can. So just adjusting however your shoulder lets you. Good. And then we're going to come on back into Warrior Two. Pressing those feet away from each other gets us right back into the core strength there of the body. And we are going to come into a lunge from here. Bringing our hands down. Releasing that right heel directly behind us now so that we can add a twist. So keeping your right hand grounded and bringing your left hand to your left hip, we're going to turn into twist here. Hand can stay down on your low back. You can stretch the arm up overhead if you choose, or keep the hand down. One more breath. And then we're going to come on back down. We're going to step forward and get our feet right under us. And then we'll bend our knees and rise up. And inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, come into a little chair pose. Sit back. Feel your thighs. Look down. Make sure your knees are coming out over the center of your feet. You don't have to go deeply. You can. If you want to go deeper, you can shift your weight a little more to your heels and come a little more into the legs and the hips there. And then we'll press into the feet and rise on back up and shake it out a little bit again before we go to the other side. So, Warrior Two, stepping that right foot forward and that left foot back and lining up our heels. Good. Adjusting to line up that front knee. So if you look at it and it's going inward, just kind of encourage that knee to line up with the center of your foot. We're going to float our arms on up and out. Bringing our gaze right out over the top of that right heel. Feeling the feet in the floor here. Softening your shoulders down. Good. Let's turn the right palm up. And inhale, rise that right arm up. Left hand can give you a little support there. And on the exhale, come into your side angle. So again, it can be your right hand or forearm on your chair or on your thigh. And you can rise that left top arm up or not. It's perfectly fine to have the hand right down on your hip, right? It's also fine to add it in line with the body or even straight up, right? Whatever your shoulder lets you do. Good. One more breath here. And then we'll come on back, pressing the feet away from each other, back into warrior two. And we're coming into lunge. So take your time. Hands go to whatever surface you like to use, your blocks, your chair, the floor. Remember, we're going to add that twist, so really get set. And then ground your left hand, bring your right hand to your right hip, and start to twist towards that front leg. Try to stay fairly level in your hips. Stretch that top arm up if you want, right up from your shoulder, or keep it down. That all depends on you and your shoulder. One more breath. And then we'll go ahead and release. Bring our hand down, and we're going to step forward to get our feet under us. And we'll bend our knees and rise on up. And we'll inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. So just breathe a couple of breaths here. Enjoy your mountain pose. And then go ahead and release your arms on down. So, you guys at home don't have on masks. But us in here are wearing masks. Are we doing okay with the masks?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Not as bad as I thought it would be. Okay, if you have a wall at home that you can use, you guys, if you want to draw your mat over to a wall, you can. We're gonna use the wall either with the chair in front of us or our blocks. And we're going to come into a little warrior three if you have a wall. And if not, it's fine. You can still do warrior three. If you can put your foot back on a wall. So your foot's on a wall. Your hands are either on a chair or on your blocks, right, on the floor. And if you don't want to use the wall, don't do it. Just rise your leg up and let yourself come in. Pick either leg because we're going to do both. Let yourself come into warrior three where your toes are facing down towards the ground. Good. So if you're not using the wall, it's fine. You can just have your leg up behind you, parallel about to the floor. Now, if you are using the wall, you can press that foot into the wall. Imagine you're trying to draw the foot up a little bit. If anybody wants to release the opposite arm of the leg that's up, you can. So if your right leg is up, your left arm can come up forward or not. And then we're going to switch legs because you're probably about to die at that point. So coming on to the other side. Pressing if you have the foot into the wall. Pressing like you're drawing the foot up a little bit towards the ceiling. Again, if you want to release the opposite arm forward, you can. Totally up to you. You don't have to. Good. And then release to come down and come into any kind of squat you can. You know, you may need to put your elbows above your knees. You don't have to go all the way down in a squat. Not everybody's knees and hips will like that. If you do like to come down all the way, you can either have your knees apart and your heels kind of coming inward if that feels good to you, or you can be more parallel. So just be mindful, let your hips release. Good. And then we're all going to come on back up and rise on up to standing. Shake yourself out just a little bit. And now, if you have a wall at home, this is where you want to use it too. So in here, you guys can step off your mat or you can stay on. Let's all go to put our left hand on the wall. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be on a mat, but you can. And get close. Get to where you got your shoulder really close to the wall. And you've got your left shoulder right in snuggled up. And then bring your right arm, your outside arm up, and just lean your head into the wall and see if you can touch the wall with your right fingertips. So they can be a little forward with your face, right? Or you can have your hand right over your head. But just breathe into that right side you're stretching. Let it feel really good. And then we'll come up, lower the arm, and we're going to rise the inside left arm up now. And bend your elbow here. Okay, Okay, now this is all kind of tricky with your shoulders, right? So if you need to step away more from the wall, do. Or if you need the elbow to come forward instead of up, you have to just find what you can do. Some of you will be comfortable to put your right hand behind you. Turn your right palm out away from the low back. And that might be enough right there, and maybe too much. Don't do it if it bothers your shoulder. And some of you might like to bring your hands closer together on your back there. So if you know you like, your shoulders really feel good when you do that, or you can tell it's keeping the mobility in your shoulders, you go wherever you can. And then we'll slowly step away from the wall, bring your arms on down here beside you. And we'll just turn around, go to the other side. So again, get fairly close here with your right shoulder. Left outside arm comes up, and you just tilt your head to rest on the wall and breathe into the left side of the body here. Feel the ribs expand when you breathe in. And let it feel good to just rest your head there on the wall. Now we're going to slowly make our way up and lower that arm down. We're going to bring the right inside arm up. And then again, bend your elbow and adjust accordingly for your own shoulder. Left hand can come back. You can turn the palm out, and you may decide you want to try to get your hands closer towards each other. You know, just be mindful. This can also be done, you know, at home with a towel or a strap to help you keep that mobility there in the shoulders. And also just the idea of looking straight forward. So you're not rounding in your upper back here, but your gaze is forward and you have that natural alignment of the spine. Nice. And then we'll release and come on down. And now for a second, face the wall. If you're at home and you don't have an empty enough wall to do this, we'll just do a few wall push-ups. You can actually go to your kitchen counter. You can hold your hands on your kitchen counter and just go in and out from your kitchen counter, right? So if you're at the wall, step back, spread your fingers nice and wide, get in a plank. So try not to let your belly hang forward or not to let your hips shift backward. And then start to just bend your elbows and pretend you're holding a beach ball between your elbows. So you're holding it there. That'll keep your elbows from jutting outward. And you know, if you're like, okay, I'm going to do 2 of these and I'm done, that's fine. If your wrists bother you, you can actually do this on fists, right? Don't do it if it doesn't feel good at all. Don't do it. Good. Finish off the one you're on. And then come on out, stretch your arms overhead for a second, and then just reach up and hold your elbows if you can. Maybe it'll be more like your wrists, but reach for your elbows if you can. Now you've got your arms one way, so now you're going to switch and try to bring the other arm on top where it feels weird. Good. And then let yourself release and come on down. Good. And we are going to come down onto our mats on the floor. Now we're going to sit. So let yourself come on into sitting and take the time. Grab a blanket if you know that you like to have a blanket. So be mindful of being comfortable in your hips. Stretch your legs out for a second. Circle through your ankles a little bit and shake them out. Good. And let's come into bringing our left ankle crossed either above or below our right knee, that figure 4, right? So your figure 4, you're flexing through this top foot. The right heel is on the floor, drawing back towards you a little bit. And then you're going to just come forward a bit. So trying to find just a nice release for the back of the leg. Now you can do what you want with this hand on the foot, right? You can push the foot into your hand a little bit, or you can interlace your fingers between your toes, if that feels good. Just be mindful. Let it feel like a release for your hips and for the back of your leg there.
nice inhale. And on the exhale, twist to bring your right hand over towards your left knee. It doesn't have to go all that far if you can't. Do where you can. Lengthen up through the top of your head. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come on back around and through to the other side. So you can bring your left hand to your foot if you can. Lengthen up, find all that space in the spine, chin parallel to the floor. Nice. One more inhale. And on the exhale, come on back around into center. Now this is optional. If you can reach down and draw the leg up a little bit. Don't do it if it's too much. And some of you might want to kind of rock the leg a little bit side to side just to release the hip. You can draw it in as close as you want. If you like really pulling the leg in towards your thigh, you can do that. That's up to you. You know that? Up to how you're built in your hips and how your knee feels. And then we'll come on down. We're going to switch legs. So coming into that right ankle, either above or below. You know, you adjust as you need to. Flex through that foot, that right foot, and then easing your way forward. And again, take your time. I forgot to say on the other side, but you can even massage your foot here if it feels good to give yourself a little foot massage. So take your time to feel openness in the back of that left long leg. Release in that outer right hip. One more breath. And we'll come on back up. We're going to add twist here. Nice inhale. And on the exhale, bringing your left hand around towards that right knee. Doesn't matter how far you go. Lengthening upward. Think about feeling your sitting bones into the ground, right? Lengthening all the way up through the top of your head. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come back around through center and keep on going all the way off into the other direction. Keep flexing through the feet, feeling that left heel on the floor. So there's having the whole body here into your twist. One more breath. And then use your belly to bring you on back around into center. And let's bring the soles of the feet together for a little Baddha Konasana. Okay, so, you know, everybody's different here. Feet can be way out in Baddha Konasana. If your hips feel better that way, you can bring the feet in closer. You just don't want to pull them in and end up sitting all curved, right? So you want to find that place where it feels really good to sit up tall. You can feel some openness in your hips, like you're pointing your knees away from each other, really. And that might be enough. You can even use your hands to give you a little support. If it's hard to sit in this pose, use some support back here with your hands. And if you like to come forward, you can let yourself think of coming forward with a nice long back. So instead of coming forward from your shoulders and your upper back, it's almost more like you lead forward with your low back. And you can go as far as feels good. Even at the end, letting your head release forward, so that you feel like you have let go a little bit there in the upper back, and that's fine. Just be with your breaths. One more breath. And we're going to walk ourselves on back up. And go ahead and bring your knees up. You can let your hands help you. Stretch your legs on out in front of you. And now we're going to come down onto our forearms. I'm going to turn sideways now so that you can see. We're going to come down onto our forearms like this. Now, if you need, you can grab your blocks and be on your blocks so that you're not so low, right? Or you can come all the way to the floor if that
feels fine for you. Keep your knees bent for a second, all right? And then just extend your right leg long, and then extend your left leg long. And now try not to drop here into your chest. Imagine there's a string attached to your sternum and someone's just drawing it up, right? And then bring one foot back to the floor again and the other. Good. And now try lifting one foot up in the air and then the other foot up in the air. Now this is harder. And you can bring your legs down a little bit towards a boat pose if you want. And you actually feel like crazy how your belly goes, oh my, I am working now. And then bend your knees again. Let yourself come down. And just ease your way down onto your back on the floor from here. So come on down. Bring your knees in towards your chest. Let your knees come side to side a little bit. Let it feel really good. And then keep your right knee into your chest and extend your left leg down long on the floor. Flex through both your feet. You can hold behind your thigh or you can hold right there below your knee on your shin. That's up to you, whatever feels best. And then we'll switch to bring the left knee in. Extend the right leg down long. Flex through both your feet. Feel that left leg coming into your hands so your back comes into that little bit of a curve in the low back there. You're not flat on that low back in the floor. And then we'll switch again. Bringing the right knee in. Extend the left leg long. Hold behind your thigh. Send your right foot up towards the ceiling a little bit. Keep your knee bent pretty much here for a second. And then slide the thigh a little towards the outside of your right ribs. And kind of just gently pull down a little bit, just to open up your hip. Now really feel that openness in the front of your left hip here. And some of you might want to reach your hands up and try to hold on to your foot with your knee bent like this. That's up to you. That's pretty intense actually for a lot of us. So take your time, just be mindful of releasing into the hip here. And then go ahead and bend the knee deeper. Bring it in towards the chest. We're going to switch legs. So bringing the left knee in, right leg long. Hold behind your left thigh. Send the foot up like you're putting a footprint on the ceiling. Slide your thigh towards the outside of the left ribs there. And that might be entirely enough, right? If you want to reach your hands to hold your big toe side of your foot with your right hand and your little toe side of your foot with your left hand, you can do that. Good. And then we'll bring the knee back in. Bring both knees on in towards your chest and make little circles with your knees. Let them circle in the same direction for a second. So they stay, they're not that close together, but they're fairly close together and they're circling, and then stop and reverse and go the other way. And then bring your feet down to the floor and get really even now between your feet. Let your feet be a little wider than they are in mountain pose. So a little wider than hips distance apart. And now just do a few little pelvic tilts. So letting yourself, as you exhale, feel your tailbone curling upward. And when you inhale, let your belly fill with air and the tailbone drops back down, right? So the low back comes off the floor. So just ease your way. Let it feel really good to come into those pelvic tilts. And it is up to you whether you want to move through your spine like a rolling bridge, right? If it feels good, you can start with that pelvic tilt and then just imagine put one vertebrae at a time coming up off the ground. So rolling up the spine, and then when you get ready to go back down on your exhale, trying again to let it be one vertebrae at a time that comes down to the floor. which really takes some work in your abs. So be mindful, let yourself, if you can come into these rolling bridges. If you would prefer to do a regular bridge pose, do it. So if you would prefer to press into bridge or to get a block and rest on a block in your bridge pose, do that. Finish off whatever it is that you're doing right now, whether you're up in bridge pose or you're doing the rolling through the spine. Take your time. Once you get back down to the floor, separate your feet wider on your mat, and let's let the knees come over from one side to the other. And take that in your own timing, right? So you may want to hang out. You may go to the right and want to stay there for a couple of breaths. Or you may decide to inhale your knees up and exhale them down to the other side so that you keep moving. That is up to you. Just be mindful. Let it feel really good. And then finish off the one you're on. Come on back up to the top with the knees. Bring your feet a little closer together again. And just cross your right thigh over your left one. And that's all we're going to do. Just let it feel good. Just easily there. And now bring your arms up like you're reaching towards the ceiling. And bring your left arm on top of your right and give yourself a hug. Now, if you're so inclined to go towards an eagle wrap, you can do that here. You can send the backs of the hands towards each other. Maybe even come to your right fingers to the left palm, or not. You can stay hugging. So we're thinking of releasing here in the shoulders, in the hips. And we'll unwind from here, uncross your arms and your legs, and we'll bring the left thigh on top of the right. And then bring the arms on up, cross your right arm on top for that hug. Now you can stay right here. Better for your shoulders, stay right here. If you want to send the backs of the hands towards each other or come into that final wrap, you can. We're going to unwind everything, uncross everything, and let your body do whatever you need to do right now. You know, whether you need to move a little bit more, whether you need to do another pose, just be mindful of letting yourself get ready to come into a shavasana here. So that might mean anything for you. You need to stretch your legs out or open your hips a little more or do another little form of a twist. So needless to say, we've all had quite a bit of stress these last few months, so we're trying to bring relief for ourselves, and doing yoga for me really kind of saved me. So I'm hoping that as you get back into the habit, it's going to help relieve some stress for you too. It's pretty great stuff. So we're getting ready to come into shavasana, and I can't bring anything to anybody at home, obviously. So those of you here
It's fine. I can disinfect the bolster. So if anybody wants me to bring you a bolster, I can wave at me if you think you want it. Not really. So let me know if the bolster sounds good. Blanket. All of you have your own blankets. So just let yourself close your eyes and enjoy allowing your breath to come in and go out. When your mind wanders off, just softly bring your focus back again to your breath. Just allowing the breath to lead your body and your mind into that quieter place where you can completely and fully relax.
body come back to naturally doing what it needs. If you need to stretch, if you need to bend, take your time. You're welcome to roll onto either side if you're comfortable to do that. You can roll to either your right or your left side. Giving your body a little longer to adjust there. Feeling cradled by the ground a little bit longer. Be easy. When you do feel like you're ready to rise up, let yourself just come up to sit however is comfortable for you. Maybe you need a blanket. Maybe you want to stretch your legs out or cross your legs. Just, if you can, easily start to rise up and let your eyes close again if they opened on the way up, just so you can stay inwardly focused a little bit longer. Enjoying feeling the space in your spine again as you lengthen up through the top of